Hey guys, George here from Pack Instinct. Hope you're all doing really well. It's been a while since I made a video, so I thought I'd come on here and do a little live for you guys so you can hear about what I've been doing and maybe I can hear about what you guys have been doing. I'm just going to give it a few minutes so that people can log in and be here before we get into the stuff that I've written down that I really want to talk to you guys about, because there's some stuff that we need to go over. Some puppy stuff to do with Coco and things that I've been doing with Coco, goods, bads, uglies, things that have been difficult, and also I want to get into something that we need to now very much talk about, which is how is this lockdown going to affect our dogs once it all goes away and we go back to our normal lives, okay? Because it is going to have an effect on our dogs, and that's what I'm going to talk to you guys today about. But I do want to start off by talking a bit about Coco, because she's been doing really well, and you guys saw those videos that I was making with her last week. That was really fun, and I hope you guys got something out of that. Even if you didn't get to teach your dogs all the tricks, it doesn't matter. They weren't necessary. It was just like a bit of fun, but it's good to practice that because it lets you understand the way the dog thinks, and it gives you a better understanding of the way your dog's thinking when you're working with them. It doesn't really matter what you're doing or what you're teaching them. You're going to get a better understanding of your dog, and you're going to strengthen the relationship, which is fantastic, you know. So that's what I was doing with Coco. I was doing lots of tricks and stuff, as well as lots of structure, okay? I just kind of left the structure part out of it for that week because I just wanted to kind of give you guys some fun things to do at home, you know? But now, like I was saying a minute ago, we're going to have to very much talk about structure if we want things to run smoothly once we go back into transition, back into normal life, right? Out of the lockdown. So we've got a couple joining now. I'm going to give it a few more minutes for people to join. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe I should just get on with the video and then people can watch it later. But I'm going to give it a few more minutes. This is the first live that I'm doing on the Pack Instinct dog training page. I've done lives before on my clients page for my clients, and this is the first live that I'm doing here on the Pack Instinct dog training page. So I really hope you guys enjoy this and you get something out of this. Cool, we're getting a few more in now, and then we will get into the good stuff. You know what, guys, just say hi when you're here, because it gives me a better idea of how many people are watching. Sometimes the view count isn't correct, and it tells me right now that 2 people are watching, but I think 3 people are watching. So if you guys just say hi when you show up, I have a better idea of how many people are watching. Not that it really matters. I'm going to go over the same stuff anyway. Hi Laura, hope you're doing well. Hope Rocky's doing well. Okay, that's it. Now we're going to get into this, okay? So I want to talk to you guys about Coco. Now, there was a bit of confusion. Some people thought that Coco was my puppy. I just want to clear this up. Coco is not my dog. Coco is a dog that I've taken for training, and the original plan was for me to take Coco for 2 weeks of training. And I took Coco just before the lockdown, so it was like 3 days before the lockdown. That's when I took Coco. And we weren't expecting this to happen like this. There was rumors and stuff, but I don't think anybody really expected. They certainly didn't expect it to go on for so long. So anyway, her owners went away because they had a planned trip. And unfortunately, they can't obviously get back into Spain from where they are right now. So it's just a case of I've got Coco and I'm going to be keeping Coco until they're able to either get here or they're able to get Coco out to where they are. And so that's the situation with Coco, but Coco is not my puppy. So I just wanted to clear that up because there was a few people that thought that Coco was my new puppy. It's going to be a while, guys, before I get myself a new puppy, but I will get myself a puppy in the near future, no doubt, and that'll be good because we can make some great videos and I can show you guys some more puppy training. And that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, okay? So I've written down Coco, good, bad, and difficult, and that's all I need to really kind of know what I'm going to be talking about with you guys, because, you know, the thing is, she's done really, really well. And if you're interacting with Coco, she's excellent. It's where she's just being a dog, that's where she struggles the most, okay? So, hi Vincent, hope you're doing well. Just being a dog, just being chill, and just being a just being calm in the way she is, you know, so she doesn't really have that so much, you know, she wants to be active, and if you're active with her and you're interacting with her, she is fantastic, guys. She is so intelligent, she's very, very quick, she's extremely quick to learn, like ridiculously quick to learn for a puppy of her age, and she loves to work, so she's very, very much a working dog. She's a Silver Labrador, for anybody that's interested. The breed is actually a Silver Labrador, and I believe that's a new breed of dog, and I think, and don't like quote me on this, but I think, I will check this out afterwards, that it's Weimaraner and Labrador mixed together to create Silver Labrador. I think that's right. So here we go. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, pretty much. Okay, so good things, you know, her obedience, fantastic. Going to the toilet, pretty good most of the time. We had a couple of days where she had an upset stomach, and I talked about that in some previous videos. And apart from that, you know, she straightened up, everything solidified up, and we're doing much better with that now. Other areas, she's socializing with my dogs now, and she's getting on very, very well with my dogs, even though it's almost like she doesn't know how to be a dog. And I spoke to you guys a little bit before about this puppy being taken away from her mum at too young of an age, okay? So she got taken from her mum at 1 month old. That's a problem, because a lot of the lessons that her brothers, sisters, and her mum would teach her in that time, that didn't get to happen, okay? So it's like I had to do a lot of that. And so when I first took Coco, she was quite small. If you look back to like that group class that I took her to, she was very, very small in that group class. And it was almost like you just took her out for half an hour and she would just be tired out, and you bring her back and she'd sleep. Now she's in what people would call like the naughty kind of teen stage, you know. And so, I mean, last week we had a couple of issues and a couple of things that I needed to put my foot down to stop it now, so it doesn't become a bigger problem later on. And so that was a lot of mouthing, eating food off the ground, or wanting to eat food off the ground. And that's not stuff that she was doing when she came initially, because she was way too young. But as she's got a little bit older, I've started to see these behaviors creep in, and I'm getting a hold of them. I'm like I'm grabbing them whilst they're fresh and new, and putting a stop to it, because I know how they will turn out if it continues, right? So, you know, obviously eating off the ground is really, really dangerous. Mouthing, you know, she's got to learn how strong of a bite she can actually give to be playful, right? Not bite too hard, right? So she's got to be shown, right? And I've really had to show her that. Now, again, these are kind of lessons that, you know, not all the time, but a lot of the time, these are lessons that mum can teach her puppies, and they learn that through feeding. They learn that through being with their brothers and sisters, how much is too much, right? Like I said, unfortunately for Coco, it's not happened. And that's the situation for a lot of dogs here in Spain, is they don't get that. Because they get dumped a lot of the time. So puppies will get dumped at like 1 day old. And I work with so many dogs that ended up with their current owners at 1 day old, guys. So that's like no interaction with their siblings or their mum or any of that, you know. So that's a big problem. We should really, really think about that. And I want you guys to know that if you ever do consider taking a dog from a reputable breeder, you know, in the future, which is a fine thing to do. It's an absolutely fine thing to do if you've got a plan and you understand the breed and everything else, and you understand what you're looking for in that breeder. That's a fine thing to do. But just understand that, you know, puppies should stay with their primary family up to like 2.5 months, okay? So that they can learn a lot of these lessons that Otherwise, you guys are going to have to do it. I'm having to do it now with Coco. So these are some of the things that we've been working on. Toilet training's been going great because of a very, very tight routine that I've put in place for her. So this is the thing, guys, that I've spoken about so many times before in my videos, and I'm going to mention it again now, is structure. Structure. From the moment that I take a dog's leash, or especially when they come into my house and I'm going to be living with that dog, I implement structure instantly. That's the first thing that we do. So we don't create any more problems. And that means I'm the one who takes the dog out. I'm the one who feeds the dog. I'm the one who gives the dog water. It doesn't matter if there's more people doing it, but there's times for things. There's a routine. We go out at this time. We feed at this time. We go out and we socialize with my dogs at a certain time. We go out and we do training at a certain time. We'll play at a certain time. It's not just whatever the puppy wants whenever the puppy wants it. And that's what she's had to learn as well. She's had to learn to fit into my schedule, which is planned out and based around her pretty much, but she can't run my life, for example. And I've been hearing a lot of stories recently, guys, because obviously people have been stuck in with their dogs. So it's like they're seeing behaviors that they just didn't see before, that were kind of like under the surface but manageable, and they've risen to the surface now and it's become more unmanageable. And I'm seeing lots of posts from people, you know, my dog's driving me crazy, I'm giving into this, and now they're doing this, and now they're doing that. Everything that you do like that, or if you give into your dog, or if you start sending the wrong signals, or you start teaching them the wrong thing, it's going to have a knock-on effect into other parts, into other areas of the dog's life. Okay, so that's what I kind of wanted to talk to you about regarding Coco, okay? Because, like I said, we're in the naughty teens kind of stage right now. She's about 5.5 months old. I think that's right. I don't actually have a passport. I'm gonna make sure that I've got that right, and I'll let you guys know. But she's in that area, right? So a couple of things that we've had to straighten out, right? Obviously, eating stuff off the floor, it's not allowed. It's very, very dangerous. I think that's why she had an upset stomach last week when she did. So we've put a stop to that. That's not happening anymore. And the reason I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about this, and if you've got any questions, please ask me, because this is the stuff that, you know, trainers don't talk about enough. Trainers will put out lots of videos like I put out the other week, which is, you know, you're doing the good stuff, you're doing the fun stuff, the dog's interacting with you, the dog's getting stuff that they want. In that case, you know, everything's going very, very smoothly, but it's when, you know, training is also taking place when you're not doing anything like that, when you're just having dinner, when you're just sitting around watching TV, when you leave the house. You're always training, guys. Whenever the dog's awake, you're training pretty much for, you know, you're training the dog. So you've got to look at that. And these are the things that I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about, because these are obviously the things that people struggle with a little bit more, not teaching their dogs tricks and obedience. You know, that's a very, very small part of the overall relationship that you should have with your dog. So if you've got any questions about that, guys, I'm all for answering any questions that you have, even if it's not about puppies, bad behavior or behavior that you want to stop or anything like that. This is your opportunity, guys, to get some free advice if you like. I'm just going to be here for a bit, so I'll give you some free advice. The next thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is, we're going to talk about, one second, the lockdown and what's going to be the knock-on effect to our dogs. Okay, so we got to look at what's been going on. So here in Spain, we've been on lockdown for 5 weeks? Somebody let me know if that's right, because I didn't even know what day it was today until about 3 o'clock. So I don't know how long we've been on lockdown, but we're still on lockdown. And we're still on quite strict lockdown, guys, for everybody that's wondering. Because, I mean, even I was speaking to my dad a few days ago, and he was like, oh, it's all kind of loosened up in Spain now, and people are getting back to normal. That doesn't seem to be the case here at all. You know, I think some people are allowed to go back to work right now, but everyone else is on lockdown. You know, guys, it's the same rules as it was the first week of lockdown for me. just going to the supermarket, just taking the dog out, not going too far away from the house. You need to have reason to be out. So I went out and I bought dog food today from the dog grooming shop. And, you know, he was like, you know, make sure that you've got the receipt so that if the police stop you, you know, you got to be careful, guys. So, but the lockdown is still very, very much, we're still very much on lockdown, just so you know, guys. But I want to talk to you guys about what the knock-on effect or what the after effects is going to be for a lot of people and a lot of dogs. And it's going to be, one thing is going to be separation anxiety. And I know that I've heard a lot of trainers already kind of like catch on to this. And it's very, very important. It's very, very important that people understand that because we've been living with our dogs for weeks now, and we've been with our dogs constantly, it can be difficult now when we go back into our normal life and normal routine. And we want our dogs to be comfortable when we go back into, you know, going back to work and leaving our dogs at home. We want our dogs to be comfortable with this. But because we've done such a long time, where I'm going to get to that in just a second, Richard. I'm just going to finish this and I'm going to get to your question right now. Because we've done such a long period of just being with our dogs, or a lot of people have, separation anxiety is going to be an issue. Now, there's things you can do now, guys, that can set you up for success when you actually come around to going back to your normal life, and your dog will be content and okay. I'm doing it right now. This moment, Puppy's in that room in a crate in the room next door to me, and my dogs are like in the living room. I just heard Ozzy bark as soon as I started talking about him. But, separating myself from my dogs, just giving me a little bit of time where they're separate from me. It's very, very important that you start to do this now, guys, if you don't want to have a separation anxiety issue when you do have to leave your dogs. You know, the work starts here, and I always say that to everybody who has a dog with separation anxiety, is you've got to start that work when you're with your dog. So when you're at home with your dog, that's when you need to start the work. Not just leave your dog and have not done anything to set them up for that before actually going out for a few hours, because that's a really good way to come back to a destroyed house or a very, very hurt dog. So you don't want to do that. Set yourselves up, guys, and start doing things to get your dogs used to you being separate from them now. That's really, really what I suggest you do. If you've got any questions about that, please ask your questions and I will answer your questions. I'm going to look at this now, so is within my arm. What games can you play at playtime with 4 dogs? Okay, so the answer to your first question, it's just got to be controlled, Richard. You've just got to be careful with that, and it depends on the dog, okay? So I know Alicia. Obviously, other people here don't know Alicia. She's a Mastiff, but she's quite a big soft girl, right? And if you feel it's her intention, right? So if she's just mouthing you in a kind of like, let's play, Dad, let's have fun kind of thing, and it's not too much, meaning it's not actually like painful for you, and it's not too much, then that's okay, as long as you can stop it instantly. You see, you should be the one who starts the game, and you should be the one who ends the game, and you should always be the one who ends the game and end the game when she's still wanting a bit more. You know, she's still wanting a bit more play. Now, this isn't something that I play with my dogs personally. I've been, you know, I know what you mean. You can sometimes just kind of have a bit of a play with your dog on the couch or something, and they kind of grab your arm a little bit or whatever. So, but it's not something that I would encourage. It's not something that I do with my dogs personally. I play tug, so I'll play with a toy with my dogs. But that's the thing. It's just, as long as it's not too hard and you can stop it instantly, then I'd say you're okay with that. Again, guys, I know the dog that he's talking about, so I'm getting that feeling, Richard, that it's not such a big deal. She is just having a little bit of a play, and I know you, Richard, and I know you could stop that stuff in an instant, so I'm not too worried about that. Just be aware and just make sure she's not going too over the top with that. And then, what games can you play at playtime with 4 dogs? Well, you're talking about at home, I'm guessing, because we're all at home, we're on lockdown. There are things you can do with 4 dogs. You've got to make sure, what I would do personally is I would start to teach rules and boundaries, and I would make it good for them. So, for example, you can get your dogs all lined up, and you can get them to sit, and you can even, go up to them and give them a treat, or, give them the toy, for example, and then take it off one dog and take it over to the next dog and get them then all to wait. So that's something that you could do with 4 dogs. I guess putting Rocky in his crate and us going upstairs away from him will help the separation anxiety. Yeah, that's the kind of thing, Laura, that now people should start to do. Even though it can be quite foreign, it can be like quite an unusual, like a weird thing to do, because you're with your dog, you're at home, you don't need to be separate. Like, they're chilling, he's like chilling out by the fire, he's chilling out downstairs or whatever, But it is a really good time to start separating them and get him used to what is going to be happening once you start getting back to normal life and going out and everything else. So having your dog separate from you, that might be in the crate, that might be in another room, that might be having your dog in place. If you live in like a 1-bedroom studio or something like that, it might just be like your dog going to place and you moving around the house. Let me tell you something, guys. I've got 3 dogs: Luna, Pitbull, Aussie, Poodle, and Spike, my first dog, who's also a poodle. He's the small white poodle, okay? And like today, guys, I went to the toilet and he's trying to get into the toilet, okay? He has not done that at all during this whole time. And then today was the first time. And what did I do? Obviously, I told him to go away, right? And he went away. He went into the room here and he went into his bed and he was chilled, right? But if I didn't do that, and I started allowing him to just like follow me around the house, I'd be fueling the separation anxiety. That would be giving me more of a problem, especially when I start to leave the house more. So my other dogs don't do it at all, but Spike's a bit like that with me. He's very, very connected with me, and I've got to be careful with that. I've got to make sure that I'm not adding petrol to the fire, creating more of a problem by letting him follow me around. Too much freedom, always being with me, or like being concerned if I go into another room. These are all things that for him it's brand new. It's like right now he started doing it today, so it's very, very easy to say, hey, cut that out, what are you doing? But obviously for dogs that have been doing this for a long time, and it's either just like been unnoticed or like unmanageable, you guys that have that, you notice it less, so you don't notice it so much, but you've got to start noticing it, and you've got to start looking at your dogs right now. Look at your dogs right now and see what they're doing. Get up, go to the bathroom, go to the toilet, go to the kitchen, and see what your dogs are doing, and just make sure that it's still healthy and they're still comfortable being left alone, and they're still comfortable with you, being separate from them, okay? But like I said there, guys, the most important thing is that you understand this work starts now, here, right now, when you're at home. Don't wait till the lockdown's over and then be like, okay, well, we'll see, You can see right now. If you look closely enough, you'll be able to see if your dogs are going to have an issue with it or not. So that was one thing. Obviously, like, other issues might come up. Guys, I have... in the past 3 days, right, I've seen more people than I've seen in like the past 4 weeks outside. So for that 4 weeks, that was a long time. I didn't see anybody. I saw like one person a day. Literally, I didn't see anybody. When the lockdown was tight and it was like nobody could go out and everybody was scared, it was like I saw one person. So like, that's not great for Coco, this puppy. Now she's going out, she's like, wow, there's people over there. And it's like, it's a lot for her to take in, and it's fantastic. I can't wait till I can, get her down to like the supermarket and get her around like 100 people in half an hour, But I'm not doing that just yet, obviously. But when I'm allowed to do that, I will be doing that with her. That's really what I want to do, guys. I really want to just get her around people and be like, look, it's not a big deal. Ignore the people, ignore the dogs. I'll be honest with you, with dogs, she's always on eggshells around dogs. She doesn't quite know dogs. She's like quite unsure about dogs. she really loves people and she thinks everybody wants to be her best friend. But with dogs, she's a little bit, like she's walking on eggshells kind of thing. She just doesn't know. And she's great. If she's, playing with me or working with me, she's like, no, I'll ignore them. She just ignores them, But if it's like where we've had some dogs come into our space and she's like, and we're not doing anything, she can be a little bit unsure about that. So all of this stuff, guys, I'm sure I'm not the only person that's experiencing this. Lots of people got puppies, over that Christmas period. So I'm sure a lot of people are gonna, once we go back to being normal and everything, and you start to see other dogs and you start to see people, and it's like, wow, there's a lot going on. Yes, and your dog is experiencing that same thing. It's like, wow, it's a lot going on. And for puppies, it's just not been ideal, guys. It's been cool because we've been, I'll be honest, I'm gonna go back on myself right now for what I just said. This lockdown has been good for puppy owners to get down some real basic stuff, some foundation stuff with their dogs, teaching all the commands, lots of different things that you could have been doing with your dog over this time, which is fantastic. But as far as going out and teaching your dog to be calm and relaxed in all situations and to ignore everything that's going on around them, there's not been anything going on around them, so it's going to be it's going to be fun once we go back to it. I'm going to be able to do some great work with Coco, but I want you guys to know that everybody's going to be in that same kind of position. It'll be worse for some people. It'll be easier for other people. It'll be worse for some dogs. It'll be easier for other dogs. Just be prepared for it. Just be ready for it, and just know okay, well, you know what? There's going to be work to do. Don't just, go back into doing what you were doing expecting it to all be fine. Just, take it, understand from your dog's point of view what's going on, right? It's like, wow, it was very, very strange for a little while, and we didn't see anybody, there was no dogs around, there was nothing going on. And now you're going to be taking them back into a world where a lot's going on, right? And so, good, I can't wait, guys, because it means I'm going to be able to do some great work with her. It's the only area that I've been like, God, this is strange. I live in an area here where it's quite busy, there's a lot going on here. I live in Diana, and if I want to go out with the dog and I want to see dogs and people, I can go out in the day pretty much at any time and I would see dogs and people, and it's just been dead. So it's been very, very strange in that way. And it's, it's going to affect dogs, and so that's the two main things that I kind of thought of for this live that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Is one, the separation anxiety, because that's an obvious one. That's a really obvious one. And the other thing is if you had a reactive dog, maybe you see those things arise to the surface again. If you had a human reactive dog and now they haven't seen any people for such a long time, you're going to have to implement lots and lots of structure to get them back where they were before this all happened. Okay, guys? So, the good thing is for trainers, I think there's going to be a lot of work for trainers once we go back and things go back to normal. I think there's going to be a lot of work for trainers. But for people and dogs, some dogs will have done better and some dogs won't do so well. But you guys should know from me that there's things you can do right now to make sure that it's going to go smoothly for you and your dog. And that's the most important thing. That's what I want. I want it to all go really, really smoothly for you guys. Now, we've got a couple of questions here, so I'm going to just scroll up to the last one. So, Rocky anxiety, putting him in the crate, that's great. How can I prepare them for when I go back to work? So, Paul, like I've just been talking about, separating your dog, practicing distance, making sure that they're still comfortable in themselves without you, and they're not relying on being with you all the time. So these are the things that you should start to do now whilst you're still with your dog, before you go back to work and you start to kind of go back into a more normal, back to normal life. You should already be starting to practice for that and setting your dogs up and kind of getting them prepared for that. By doing that stuff that I was talking about, whether that's separating them in another room, doing what Laura mentioned, creating your dog and, going away from them, or even just placing your dog, telling your dog to go to their bed, and so you go to the bathroom, go to the kitchen, just be able to, move around without your dog under your feet, So that's what I would suggest you start to do. Kate. Mine going crazy, not being able to go out. Yeah, everybody's in that situation, you know. It's especially if you've got a young dog, an active dog, a working breed, you know, it's been especially difficult. And for the reasons that I've been talking about during this, just for me, guys, the main thing that I've noticed, because I've been able to be active with her, I've got a kind of a nice little area out there to do training and playing with Coco. But there's just been no people. There's been no dogs. There's been no distractions. I like distractions. I like to work with distractions. I like there to be distractions pretty kind of like early in the training, if you know what I mean. I like to get the foundation stuff done and, you know, dusted and that all to be there and me to have a good relationship with the dog. And then it's like, let's go world. I want the world here. I want this dog to experience all the things that they are going to experience and they're going to have to experience to be a great dog, or just, you know, be able to cope with life. So it's just we've not been able to get that. So here we go. That's what I'm thinking with Rocky. Socializing again. Yeah, Laura, just nice and slow, you know. So, you know, I mean, the good thing is that we have the group classes. So my group classes will start again as soon as they can start up again. And that obviously is a great opportunity. Everybody who knows, come to my group classes and you will get your dog around lots of other dogs and lots of other people. So that's what I would suggest you do, Laura. First of all is get to some of the group classes just to, you know, get him back on track and get him back to being used to that and ignoring people, ignoring dogs, and just being able to process the world like smoothly and nicely and calmly. Okay, Mike, what do you think about people that go out with their dogs off leads? I have got 2 dogs that are reactive and other dogs want to go and play. So this is the thing, Mike. This is a thing that trainers talk about a lot, okay? If you're going to have your dog off leash, in my opinion, you should have a trained dog. That means a dog that has 100% recall. You can always get them back to you. A dog who doesn't think about going up to other dogs and playing with other dogs. A dog that doesn't think about going up to people, a dog that doesn't think about bolting away from you, a dog that isn't fearful and will bolt away from you at a sound of a bang or a truck going past you or something like that. So for me, Mike, an off-leash dog or a dog that is being allowed to go off-leash, that should be a dog that's trained to a pretty high standard. Or just a very, very low-key, relaxed, chilled-out dog that you know doesn't give any trouble, not interested in other people, not interested in other dogs, which is a trained dog, by the way, guys, as well. Just, you know, it's just that dog's figured that out through experience and through their whole life and lessons that they learned when they were really, really young. But pretty much, Mike, I think what you're saying to me is people will let their dogs run up to you and your dog, and you've got your dog on leash, and they're like, hey, it's okay, he just wants to play. That is unacceptable. That can make your dog reactive. It causes loads of problems, okay? So it's unacceptable. It's not good for anybody. It's dangerous for them and their dog. And so that's what I think about it, and I would tell them that, and I wouldn't have a problem with doing that. I had to tell a woman today, and I had the great excuse of like the lockdown and the coronavirus and all this stuff, and like, no, we're just staying separate, so we're not going to be playing today. But she saw me playing with Coco, and she came over with her pit bull, and she was like, oh, nice puppy, can they play? And I was like, nope, we're staying separate. That's just what we're doing right now. We're staying separate. Now, if I didn't give that answer, I would have said, like, we're in training right now. This dog's in training. We're not playing right now. You know, she's a young dog. We're training, or any dog. You know, we're training. That's what we're doing, right? And I think she was a little bit upset with that, but I don't really care. So that's that. Now that Remy is almost fully recovered, he is back to his crazy self on leash. Should I walk him separate? Other 3 are calm. And he's making them jump. Yes, so Richard, you can't be taking... When a dog... Whoa, 20% guys, 20% battery. Okay, we're going to do our best here. So when a dog is reactive well, when a dog's reactive, I don't take him out with other dogs, okay? When a dog is reactive and it ricochets through the whole pack and they react, then I especially don't want to be taking that dog out with other dogs until I've worked with that dog, got them over that stuff, then I'll bring them back into the pack, okay? Because otherwise what I'm inviting is for that behavior to rub off on the rest of the pack. And you're talking about 4 dogs, you know? So I would certainly recommend you, Richard, that you start to take Remy out by yourself. And you don't just take him out on some walks. We've talked about this before. I've talked about this with somebody else on the last live. Sorry guys, you don't know about that because it was on the other page. Confidence building, okay? Confidence building. And so what would that be? That would be getting your dog to do things that might be difficult or physically challenging, mentally challenging. Getting your dog to go up on something, under something, around something. Getting your dog to hold a position whilst you make a bit of a noise or bang something or something's going off over there, or, you know, anything really is confidence building, but it's where you're pushing the dog a little bit. So where it's difficult for them, but not so difficult that they fail. You want to be successful, you push them a little bit. It's like going to the gym, guys. It's like, I don't go to the gym now. I think I'm going to start going to the gym probably, maybe not after the coronavirus and everything, now that people are scared of like touching everything. But if you go to the gym and you're working out, if you just do the same thing every single day, that's going to get really, really easy after a while, and you're not going to get any results. You're not going to make any gains. You're not going to progress, you know? So what you've got to do is you've got to, you know, make it a little bit harder, just increase the weights or increase the run or increase the intensity a little bit each time. And then that way you're going to be progressing and you're going to be getting a little bit better all the time. It's exactly the same with dog training. It's exactly the same with dog training. You don't want to push them too hard, too far, you know, mentally or physically, right? Just a little bit past the threshold where it's like, okay, you know, you've worked, you know, you've done a good job today. And then we end the session and we go back inside and we chill out. And then that experience is kept with the dog. You know, that dog leaves that situation with that positive experience, right? And then you go back to a calm situation like at home, and you give your dog a chance to just like process everything that's going on. And then do you know what you do? You repeat that. You do it the next day. You do it the next day. You do it the next day. And you make it a little bit harder each and every single time. That's what you got to do, Richard. That's what confidence building is. Now, you see, like with Remy, if it's because he was a dog reactive dog, he needs confidence building around other dogs. Again, like I said to Laura, Richard, when this is all over, get down to my group classes, because I will put you in a situation where you're around lots of dogs and lots of people, and we will build his confidence in that way. And we won't make it too difficult for him. We won't put him in a situation where he's going to react. He might react and we might need to correct that. That's absolutely fine. But we're going to make sure that he's successful and that he leaves that class like having done really, really well, and with that positive experience, he can take that home and take that in. I mean, lots of people have had lots of success with dog reactivity just from coming to my group classes, guys. So, I mean, if you've got a dog reactive dog, please just consider it. Just consider coming to a group class, because I think some trainers think I'm strange when I say this, but I'm like, I want reactive dogs in my group class. I want aggressive dogs. I want these dogs in my group class if it's possible to have them there, because we can do so much good work with them in my group classes around in that environment which I control, and around dogs and people which I have a say in, and I control everything that goes on around you, which means I can make it difficult or I can make it easy. I have that ability in that situation. So I really recommend that if you guys aren't already coming to my group classes, when this is all over, please consider joining the group classes, because it can work wonders for you and your dog actually being in that real life situation. I live where a group of 5 or more congregate and do not observe. Yeah, that's the thing, Mike. You know, you're gonna have people like this. You've got to. I would just keep distance from that. I would just stay away from that. I've been doing this, guys, now for 6 years, and I've been doing it for long enough to know that if people don't want to change what they're doing, they won't change what they're doing, and it doesn't matter what you tell them in some situations. They're like, I'm content, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. That's what they're going to keep saying to themselves until the day comes where their dog runs up to the wrong dog, and then their dog learns a serious lesson if they end up walking away from that. I mean, it's really, really bad, and it's ignorant humans. That's what it is. It's ignorant humans that aren't considering other people, other dogs, their own dog. They're not considering their own dog's safety. So going back to like what I said to you, Mike, an off-leash dog should be a well-trained dog. A dog that does recall as soon as you tell him to. A dog that knows to be with you. A dog that knows to ignore other people, other dogs, all that stuff that I was talking about before. That's the dog that should be off the leash. Not, and I know, it's these people that their dog runs up to you and they're like, it's fine, it's good. Now in that situation, remain calm, be relaxed, don't freak out, don't panic, just kindly ask the person to call their dog back. They probably won't be able to, so don't hold much out there, and they probably won't be able to call their dog back, which is why this is a reoccurring thing. So I would really recommend, Mike, if you know where they are, if you know where they're going to be, avoid it. Just avoid it. Just go another way. Just don't worry about it. Lucy. How long should we let our dog bark? Act distressed in her crate while she gets used to it. I crumble after 5 minutes though. Yes, okay. So Lucy, this is crate training. That's your question. So with crate training, this is what I do, Lucy. And just so you know, I always crate train dogs as soon as they come into my home, for example. So as soon as a dog comes into my home, if you have guests or something, or if you had visitors, you'd be like, hey, come into the house. You take them upstairs. You'd be like, hey, this is your room. Put your stuff down, chill out. Make yourself at home. Dinner's at this time or whatever. You might do this. I don't know. This is what I think of, like somebody being really like hospitable and nice and that kind of a thing. So that's what I do with dogs. I bring them into my home and I walk them past my other dogs and I say, ignore those dogs, and I say to my dogs, ignore this dog. Don't worry about this dog. For now. I walked her. I'm thinking of Coco right now, but I walk her into the spare room. Okay, there's your crate. And in her crate she goes. And so that's what she did straight away. And that's what I like to do with dogs straight away, because that means that I can put the dog in a safe place, and it means I can get on with things that I need to do, guys. You need to be able to get on with your life and get on with things that you need to do, even though having a dog is fantastic. You still need to go out to the shop, and you still need to go out to even like just get dog food. You see what I'm saying, guys? And you don't want your dogs to be struggling with that, okay? So now going back to what you were saying, Lucy. Okay, so what you need to do, Lucy, is you need to correct the barking. You need to not let your dog out, right? The way dogs learn is, if it works, I'll do it again because it worked. I got what I wanted, right? So if a dog barks and you go over to the crate and you let them out, you just let them out, that dog just learned that, hey, all I need to do to get out of here is I need to bark for 5 minutes, you see, or 10 minutes or half an hour. It's if your dog barks once and you go up to the crate and you're like, no, okay, get them out, because you might feel like, they're in jail, or you might feel a little bit upset that your dog's in the crate. That's it. Then that's it. Wow, okay, bark, got let out, fantastic, and then they do that again. And the more and more you practice it, the harder it's going to get to stop. The same as every single behavior, unwanted behavior. The more your dog practices it, the harder it's going to be to stop. And it's going to require a louder correction. It's going to require a higher level of correction to get through to that dog, probably. So, what you need to do, Lucy, is you need to
correct your dog when they're in the crate. Now that might be that when they bark in the crate, you walk up to the crate, you say no, and you just flat hand on top of the crate, no, bang. Might startle him, might find that a little bit weird, you know, but that's what will stop the behavior, so that your dog realizes like, wow, okay, do you know what? I don't get let out of the crate, and it's actually just like, I don't like it when she comes up and bangs the crates, you know. But the barking will stop because your dog realizes that, hey, negative things happen when I do that behavior, right? So you're applying a negative consequence to the behavior you don't like, which is going to stop the behavior you don't like. What did we do last week, guys? Positive, 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 positive. What for? Just for things that I like. Just for behaviors that I like. Sit down, stay, come, roll over, spin, heel, down, I think tug. All of that stuff, guys, I rewarded the dog for things that I like. I never even one time rewarded the dog, Coco, for anything that I didn't like, okay? You can't do it. You cannot do it. And letting your dog out of the crate, that's a reward. That's it. The dog got what they wanted. If your dog barks and you give them their food, the dog got what they wanted because they demanded that you give it to them, right? So that's the way that dogs learn. So they learn that way for things, if we want to increase behavior that we like, or if they learn to, oh, sorry, I'm saying that incorrectly, guys. Let me say that again. It will, if we positively reinforce behavior that we like, we'll get more of that. If we positively reinforce behavior that we don't like, we will get more of that, okay? So it works both ways. If you correct behavior that you don't like, you will get rid of the behavior. So that's what you really need to do. You need to just like put your foot down. Coco was doing the same. Coco was barking. You know, Coco was like in a bit of a stage where she was barking at like 7 o'clock in the morning. She was like, whoa, let me out, I'm awake. And I'm like, whoa. Once that starts to happen, you see, they're going to start to do that over and over again. And she did it. She did it for like 3 days. And I had to correct it. I had to just go in there, say, no, that's not happening, tap the top of the crate, and then she would stop. And she would just like kind of move back and lie down and relax. But that's what you need to do, guys, you see, to stop an unwanted behavior. Or, like you were saying, Lucy, to stop this barking in the crate. But if you let your dog out, you're making it worse. You are going to make it a lot worse, okay? Now, Lucy, if you want any more help with that, I can send you a message and help you out with that. The other thing as well, guys, because I was having a bit of a barking issue with Coco, is I've got a vibration collar. And so you press a button and it vibrates. And I was using the Vibrate Collar on her in the crate for a couple of days. And also when I was taking her outside and she was just around my dogs, just because she wanted to like pick up everything. And she actually like knocked over an ashtray and smashed the ashtray. Everything was fine. The ashtray wasn't even that smashed or anything. But it's like there are just things that having that vibration collar really, really helps for me to just say no at a distance, press the button, and she goes, oh, okay, I feel that. I'm not gonna, and it startles her a little bit. It's like, whoa, okay. Now this is something that can really, really help you out, guys, with that crate stuff as well, because you can't actually get to your dog to give the touch, if you like, to correct. So having that collar, or the vibration collar like I've been using, which is actually not just a vibration collar, it does lots of different things, but I've just been using the vibration function. It's really, really helpful just to make her go like, whoa, okay, I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to stop like barking or biting at the bars or like messing around or trying to get stuff off the table or whatever. I can just say no, correct her, and she's like, okay, I've got that. So it's just like a nice, easy way for me to communicate the message to her. It could also be something for you to consider, Lucy, but please, if you want any more help with that, really do recommend that you just send me a message so I can help you out a little bit more with that. I think this is a very good idea as well. Well done. Okay, cool. Thank you, Mike. That's awesome. We're going to be starting in Estepona straight away. So my classes, we're going to be doing them at the same time, which is going to be 5 o'clock on Saturdays, and that's going to be just up the road from you, Mike, up by the Polygono, on that hill behind the Polygono, where we've got that big open space where they do like the plane flying and stuff. 10%, guys. So we're going to be doing that as soon as possible, because lots of people now really want to get back into it, get out with their dogs, get out into the fresh air and everything else. Perfect. Fantastic. All right, guys, so if there's any more questions, or if you guys want to ask me anything, now's your chance. We've gone over a couple of things there that I just wanted to go over. Puppy related stuff, lockdown, after effects of lockdown related stuff. So I just wanted to give that to you guys, to give you a little something, because I mean, I don't know if you guys are probably going through the same thing. I went through that first week where it was like, okay, cool, we're inside, and it was all kind of fine. And then that second week, and I was like making those videos and stuff, and that kind of went on to the next week, and then like I went a bit flat for a few days. I just felt like a bit flat. I just couldn't really like think of anything to do, and I was just I was like tired from not doing anything, if that makes sense. And so what I did was I decided to get myself out of that rut, and I decided to like write out a schedule for myself, like 7 o'clock in the morning through till like 9 o'clock. I've got it all planned as to what I'm doing. I mean, if you guys are struggling at all and that helps, I mean, I hope it does help. But that's the thing that's really, really helped me out over the past couple of days, is just like writing down a cool schedule and knowing what I'm going to be doing every day, because just helped my head a little bit and stopped me from being so flat, it seems. So if that's it, guys, if that's everything, I hope you enjoyed this live. I'm going to hopefully be doing some more lives here on this page to help you guys out. So if you've got any questions that you want me to answer, send them to me. You send me your questions, you send me anything that you want. And, if I get enough questions, maybe we'll do a live tomorrow night regarding questions, anything that anybody wants to talk about. All right, guys, if that's it, I hope you all have a really, really nice evening and enjoy yourselves. Okay, talk to you soon.